Davy Curnow-Garland. I'm up at Lancaster University in the UK. I'm talking about exam busting, preparing for your exams, planning. This stuff I'm doing now is carrying on from the snake that I did in some previous chapters. Anyway, very quickly, the idea of this is to look at how you can get all your information together so that you recall it, you remember it before you go into the exam. This will happen over a number of weeks before the exam, so you're basically looking at previous exam papers, getting all your notes, getting all your previous information you have on the course that you've done for the year. Now this is very much aimed at degree level, but it can be used for sixth form, for A level, for GCSEs, etc., etc. Anything basically where you have an exam or you have to remember stuff. Anyway, what we're going to start off with is that I'm using and adapting a lot of Tony Buzan. Tony Buzan, as we all know, is renowned for his mind mapping and other kind of learning techniques. But I'm adapting some of this, so hats off to Tony here, and I hope you won't mind me using some of his ideas. Anyway, on the board you can see one of Tony Buzan's kind of mind maps. Now what I've done here, what this shows, is that this shows obviously someone's ideas. Now, the idea with mind maps is that you have a number of routes which go in size depending on what you're using for information. So you go for a big idea, then you break that idea down into the next phase, etc. So basically, if you think back to roads and mind maps, what you have is that you have, let's say for example, these would be motorways, these would be main highways, and they are major ideas. So here this person's got symphony, story, design, etc. The next ones are A roads. And then from A roads we've got B roads, and often these we've got what I call country lanes almost. And so basically you're deconstructing, you're subcategorizing your ideas. So for example, let's say I'm looking at say Second World War history. I've got a major theme of an exam I'm preparing for, and then off from the major exam I've got some major theme, I've got some subsections, and then I've got on here, let's say for example, I've got places and names and people and dates, all the things we need for an exam to remember. And all these kind of mind maps can be found online quite easily on Google. But what I want to look at is how you prepare for the exam. So, let's say for example, I have 4 themes within the exam that I feel most content with. I say 4 themes because usually on an exam paper you may have between 2 and 3 questions. Always have an extra question or an extra theme that you're researching, that you're looking for. So for example, if I will look at my exam paper and see what comes up regularly, what's consistent, what comes up year after year. So again, I look at 3 themes that I'm most happiest with, and another theme in case one of the main 3 themes doesn't come up, so I can use the 4th one. Okay. So anyway, what I do is I will then break this, what I call a mother map, into 4. So here I have, moving over here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So obviously I will work on each of these themes, which will come up in a question in the same way as this person has put together. There's lots of pictures and lots of things like, I said, names and people and of places, etc., etc. Okay, so you build this up, let's say for a week, using all the resources that you have. Next thing is to start seeing how well you do in mock exams. Get some old exam papers and begin to look at the questions and to prepare a planning map for each of these questions that you're going to answer. Right, so what I have here, let's change this around a little bit. So what I've got here now is take away the 1s and the 2s. When you answer a question, most often than not, you've got an intro, a for, an against, and a conclusion. Not always, but it can change itself quite often. But you have two or three, you have a compare and a contrast, you have a conclusion, you have an intro. Now, these maps, I always say, work on about 10 minutes. 5–10 minutes is a plan before you start answering the question textually. Okay? So, first thing to do, intro. So you have a number of points you want to put into the intro. There may be a kind of a background, and maybe you're going to say what you're going to do in it, so what I am doing. And then for the forward, you may have a number of points. You may have maybe a kind of a place, maybe have a theory, or whatever you want to explain. And you carry on for against and do the conclusion. With the conclusion, you may have a number of points, let's say point 1 and point 2, that you're rounding up on. Okay? Okay, that's what. So what I'm going to do now is basically say to you is that when you do this plan and help you to order it, remember to put in A, B, C, whatever order you're going to write those paragraphs. The same thing here, A, B, C. They come into some order. So when you go back to looking at the plan while you're writing your piece of work, writing the answer to the question, you can see the order of this. Okay? Time yourself. I say do an exam paper with the 9 maps a day. Go through mock exams, 1 a day, and time yourself and see if you can do 3 of these. The more often you do it, the more often you're going to feel confident. And also, more importantly, you're going back to these mother maps. Keep looking at these mother maps. Get a great big piece of paper, a big A1, put it on the wall, blank, and build up from the centre and work out. Again, make it really big, so your mind's expanding and you're really bringing in lots and lots of information. Again, the whole idea is that we think in pictures, many of us. It's especially aimed for dyslexics. You are thinking in pictures. You use lots of visuals in everyday life, so this is a way that you can actually bring this and recall this into your exam. And basically, good luck.